Hi friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to do a new book tag created by my friend Jan. It is the JAN-UARY book tag, and I absolutely love the questions for this. It answers so many of those like end of the year, beginning of the year questions. I thought it was perfect. And then my friend Sarah from Sarah's Shelves actually tagged me to do the video. So I want to go ahead and get it done while it's still January. I love the questions. I hope you do too. I'm going to be tagging people at the end of this video, so go ahead, listen to the questions, sit back, enjoy your coffee, and then at the end, let's see if I tag you. Okay, question number one, what was the last and the first, if you remember, book you read last year? So the first book that I read last year was All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. I remember that because I always pick a reread for my first book in a new year. That was my choice for 2021. And my last book for last year was Beyond Belief. It has a longer title, but it's by Jenna Miscavige Hill, which is the niece of David Miscavige. It's a memoir about her life in Scientology, and it's very, very interesting. I rated All Your Perfects 5 stars, and I rated Beyond Belief 4 stars. So the beginning and the end of my reading year last year was pretty darn amazing. Question number 2 is, what is your first read this year? And my first read this year is also a reread. I picked Cruel Beautiful World by Caroline Leavitt. I cannot tell you guys how much I love this book. It's plot driven, but it also has really great character dynamics. It follows the lives of 3 different women. One, Lucy, who runs away with a much older man to rural Pennsylvania. Her sister, Charlotte, who she leaves behind. And the woman that raised these 2 girls as her own daughters, Iris. And you get all of their lives. And it's just very interesting. It's set in the like 1970 period, and I hadn't read it since like April 2016, so it was definitely time for a reread. I highly recommend this book. I rated it 5 out of 5 stars. Question number 3 is, share 3 of your reading goals this year. And I basically only have 3 goals, so this was perfect. My first goal is to read 100 books. My second goal is to read my book of the month picks the month that I pick them and receive them. And my third and final goal is to reduce my physical TBR by 2/3. Question number 4, share 3 of your most anticipated titles. So I do have a want to read shelf on my Goodreads, and I did do an entire video sharing all of my most anticipated reads from like January through August. And I'm also going to do an episode on my podcast with my top 10 most anticipated reads, but I'm trying to pick some like maybe lesser known titles. So the first one I'm going to share is The Fields by Erin Young, and this is a new crime fiction series. It's the first one in the series. It's the Riley Fisher series, and it comes out on January 25th, so pretty soon. And it is a procedural that is beautifully written and masterfully crafted. It's a dynamite debut crime fiction at its very finest. Some things don't stay buried. It starts with a body, a young woman found dead in an Iowa cornfield on one of the few family farms still managing to compete with the giants of big agriculture. When Sergeant Riley Fisher, newly promoted to head of investigations for the Black Hawk County Sheriff's Office, arrives on the scene, an already horrific crime becomes personal when she discovers the victim was a childhood friend connected to a dark past she thought she left behind. The investigation grows complicated as more victims are found. Drawn deeper in, Riley soon discovers implications far beyond her Midwest town. So it sounds absolutely amazing. I haven't really read any like crime fiction lately, and it used to be my jam. The 𝒔𝒂𝒗𝒆 series by Patricia Cornwell used to be like my #1 series of all time. So I think it's time that I dive back into some crime fiction this year. All right, the next one that I want to tell you about is The Paradox Hotel by Rob Hart. This one releases on February 22nd, and this one is a locked room mystery story set at a hotel for time travelers, in which a detective must solve an impossible crime even as her own sanity crumbles. For someone with January Cole's background, running security at a fancy hotel shouldn't be much of a challenge, except the Paradox is no ordinary hotel. Here, the ultra-wealthy guests are costumed for a dozen different time periods, all anxiously awaiting to catch their flights to the past. And it seems like it's going to be a mix of like thriller mystery, but also have some sci-fi elements woven into it, and like maybe some government conspiracies and stuff like that, because the US government is getting ready to privatize time travel technology, and a handful of trillionaires have just arrived to put down their bids. Meanwhile, there's a blizzard rolling in and the time stream's acting strange, which means nobody's leaving until further notice, and there's a murderer on the loose. So it just sounds really, really good. And the last one that I will tell you about is The Woman in the Library by 𝒍𝒊𝒏𝒌𝒔, and this releases in May 10th. And it says that there are some people that are in the Boston Public Library. It's nice, it's quiet, it's tranquil. They're sitting in the reading room until the tranquility is shattered by a woman's terrified scream. Security guards take charge immediately, instructing everyone to stay inside, to stay put until the threat is identified and contained. While they wait for the all clear, 4 strangers sitting at the same table pass the time in conversation, and friendships are struck. Each one has his or her own reason to be there. It just so happens that one is a murderer. Does that not sound so freaking good, you guys? So those are 3 of my most anticipated. Question number 5, which goals did you reach or not reach last year? So some that I reached is I read 12 book of the months. I also read 12 new releases. I far exceeded those expectations. The ones that I did not reach is I did not read 6 classics. I only read 3 classics. And during last year, especially towards the end of the year, I realized that classics are not on my active TBR, they're on my someday TBR, so they're more like reference materials at this point. Question number 6, are there any 2022 releases you've heard of that you have no desire to read? Yes, there's a bunch. Anything fantasy or like hard sci-fi or anything like that. Also, Casey McQuiston's new book, I Kissed Sarah Wheeler. I'm not interested in that at all. I read Red, White, and Royal Blue. Absolutely loved it. Rated it 5 stars. Then last year for my podcast, Jacqueline and I read One Last Stop, and I did not like that book. The only thing I liked about it is the side characters and the found family dynamic of the story. Other than that, I did not like it at all. I'm also getting out of like YA, new adult, so it just doesn't sound like something I'm interested in at all. Question number 7, what are some reading habits you want to change this year, if any? Okay, so something else I realized last year is that I have become super dependent on audiobooks, and I love audiobooks. That's never going to change. But what happened is I was really wanting to read a book on my bookshelf, and I put off reading it because I did not have the audiobook. And now those books are still sitting on my shelf because they don't have an audiobook. So I am challenging myself this year that if I'm in the mood to read a book and it still does not have an audiobook, to still pick up that book and read it, because I'm able to read physically and I usually have the books physically anyway. So my goal is to not, or my reading habit I want to change is to not be so dependent on audiobooks in 2022. Question number 8, are there any adaptations you're excited about? Yes. So I actually have a full document of a bunch of adaptations coming out in the new year. I'm actually planning on doing an episode in February for my podcast, Talk Bookish to Me, about all of the movie adaptations that I know about, like movie or Netflix or Hulu, those type of things. Some that I'm really, really looking forward to is The Black Phone. If you have not seen this trailer, it's adapted from a short story of the same name by Joe Hill. It appeared in the book 20th Century Ghosts. It's supposed to release in February, like February 4th, and it is so creepy. I cannot wait. I'm going to link the trailer down below for this. You guys have to watch it. Just be forewarned, it is creepy. All right, I also want to watch Death on the Nile, the Agatha Christie novel. That one also comes out in February. I haven't read any Agatha Christie. I would like to change that, but I definitely want to get the audiobook because books that are harder for me to read, I would like the audiobook to help me out. So maybe that will eventually happen, but I still do want to see the movie. Heartstopper, obviously, by Alice Oseman is being adapted on Netflix, and that's supposed to come out in the summer, June 24th. So I want to watch that. Also, the Bridgerton season 2, the Viscount Who Loved Me, that is supposed to come on Netflix sometime this year. 3 more. So Blonde by Joyce Carol Oates. It's based off of like Marilyn Monroe's life. That's going to be coming to Netflix maybe in 2022. Hulu, No Exit, obviously is going to be on this list. They still haven't set a date, but to be determined. And then the last one that I will mention, it's going to be a movie, and it's estimated that it's going to come out in 2022, but The Storied Life of A.J. Thickery. Loved that book, rated it 5 stars, can't wait to see the adaptation. Question number 9, favorite bookish memory of last year. Basically anytime I hang out with friends that I have met through YouTube, like Jessie and Jacqueline. I also had a big retreat in the summertime with my book club. That was a lot of fun. So anytime I get to like hang out with you guys, that's really my favorite memories. I also really liked any live shows that I was a part of, specifically on Jessie's channel. We did the Sleep When I'm Dead, and we read Dying for Christmas by Tammy Cohen. That was a lot of fun. Just anytime I get to like hang out with you guys. Also just like when you guys pop on my podcast and we do episodes together, that's a lot of fun. I just love like sharing memories with you guys. And the last question, question number 10, carryovers from last year that you still plan on finishing. None. I never carry over books into the new year from a previous year, or at least it hasn't happened yet. I'm too much of a planner to make that happen. I kind of look at the days that I have left and judge, am I going to finish this book before then? I mean, I will stay up all night if I have to finish a book and not bringing it into a new year, because I like my first book of the new year to be a reread, and I just don't want the baggage from a previous year to follow me into a new year. So I'll even stop reading like a couple days before the new year if I have to. So no carryovers for me. But that is the January book tag. I absolutely love this tag. Thanks for tagging me, Sarah. Now it's time for me to tag some of you. Okay, so I am going to tag Haley Hughes, Nikki Read That, James's Space, Reading Riley, Sydney Page Books, Beth Saw Booked, Sorry Booked Solid, Jessie from Reading with Jess, Lauren from Lauren Loves Reads, Marcy from Marcy Reads, Liv from Liv's Library, Ashley from Ashley's Little Library. Okay, I think I'm going to cap it off there. I'm going to leave everybody that I have tagged in the description box so you can go over and follow their channel and make sure that they do this tag. But yeah, that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for creating the tag, Jan. I will have the original linked. I will have Sarah's link. Also, if I didn't tag you and you want to do the tag, consider yourself tagged. But that's all for today's video. Thank you for joining me. I hope you're all having a lovely day or night, and I'll see you guys again in another video very soon. Bye, guys.